I would like to update you on the latest developments regarding the search for missing flight MH370. As you are aware, there have been no confirmed signal detections since last Tuesday night, Perth time. Today is day 38 of the search. The guaranteed shelf life of the batteries on the aircraft black boxes is 30 days. Despite the lack of further detections, the 4 signals previously acquired taken together constitute the most promising lead we have in the search for MH370. We need to pursue this lead as far as possible. Analysis of the 4 signals has allowed the provisional definition of a reduced and manageable search area on the ocean floor. The experts have therefore determined that the Australian defence vessel Ocean Shield will cease searching with the towed pinger locator later today and deploy the autonomous underwater vehicle, the Bluefin 21, as soon as possible. The Bluefin 21 is equipped with side-scan sonar. Once deployed, it will begin searching the seafloor in the vicinity of the detected signals. Each mission conducted by the Bluefin 21 will take a minimum of 24 hours to complete. It will take the autonomous underwater vehicle 2 hours to get down to the bottom of the ocean. It will then be on task for 16 hours. It will then take 2 hours to return to the surface and 4 hours to download and analyse the data collected. The first mission will see Bluefin 21 cover an area of approximately 5 kilometres by 8 kilometres, an area of 40 square kilometres. The autonomous underwater vehicle in side-scan sonar mode transmits an active pulse which produces a high-resolution 3-dimensional map of the sea floor. The deployment of the autonomous underwater vehicle has the potential to take us a further step towards visual identification, since it offers a possible opportunity to detect debris from the aircraft on the ocean floor. As I have said before, aircraft wreckage needs to be visually identified before we can say with certainty that this is the final resting place of MH370. I would caution you against raising hopes that the deployment of the autonomous underwater vehicle will result in the detection of the aircraft wreckage. It may not. However, this is the best lead we have, and it must be pursued vigorously. Again, I emphasise that this will be a slow and painstaking process. In another development, I can report Ocean Shield detected an oil slick yesterday evening in her current search area. A sample of about 2 litres has been collected, and it will be a number of days before it can be landed ashore and conclusively tested. I stress the source of the oil is yet to be determined, but the oil slick is approximately 5,500 metres downwind and down sea from the vicinity of the detections picked up by the towed pinger locator on Ocean Shield. A few words about today's search. Up to 11 military aircraft, 1 civil aircraft and 15 ships will assist in today's search. HMS Echo is working in the area supporting Ocean Shield, providing oceanographic support and analysis. The planned visual search area is about 47,644 square kilometres. The centre of the search area lies approximately 2,200 kilometres northwest of Perth. The air and surface search for floating material will be completed in the next 2 to 3 days in the area where the aircraft most likely entered the water. The chances of any floating material being recovered have greatly diminished, and it will be appropriate to consult with Australia's partners to decide the way ahead later this week. The weather forecast for today is southeasterly winds with possible showers, sea swells of up to 1.5 metres and visibility of 3 to 5 kilometres. I'm now happy to take your questions.
Mr. Houston, Wilbur with CNN. Aside from the Bluefin 21, will you be deploying any other underwater resources at any point down the road to speed up the search process, or is that the only asset that's going to be used for now?
That's the only asset that is available now, and I would stress again the capability required is to be able to go down to 4,500 metres, and this vehicle is limited once the water gets deeper than that. So we would have to get another vehicle if the water were to be deeper still. But at the moment, it looks like the Bluefin 21 is more than adequate for the task. Yes.
How large the search area is that you have to cover with the Bluefin 21. The first step is 40 square kilometres.
That's
How
right.
many square kilometres does it need to cover?
Well, the search area, because we've got one vehicle and we go mission for mission for mission, we will adapt the search area depending on what we find on the bottom of the ocean. So over time, each time the vehicle goes down, it will have a defined search area. Now that search area is obviously the broader search area. It's obviously a little larger than that, but what we do is we start from the best datum and we work outwards from there. And it's really up to the people on the spot to determine where the best area is to go next. It's a bit different from, when you've got a large number of aircraft, a large number of ships, you define a large area for search. In this particular case, we've got four detections. We start where we think the best location is. That's the datum for the start of the search, and we go outwards from there.
We heard yesterday it was 40 by 50 kilometres. Is that the sort of area you're working within? So do you just do blocks within that area?
Well, it just depends what we find on the ocean floor. I think it's very important to give flexibility to the people who are doing the work. They're the experts, and they will determine where they need to go next. Obviously, that sort of search area you've sort of indicated, if we don't find anything, we go further out and look a little bit further afield. At the moment, I think the first mission will be quite an intense search in the most likely spot that has been determined from the analysis that has been done thus far. Of course, we get a lot more data from the mission that provides further information to further define where we go next.
Nick Martin, Sky News in the UK. Are you telling us that you believe that the battery in the data recorder is now flat? And can you give us an idea that the Bluefin is a long shot, isn't it?
Well, I would say that day 38, if you remember when we had a briefing, seems like a long time ago now, but we said 30 days shelf life, and then possibly out to 40 days, and then the batteries will almost certainly be totally expired. We haven't had a single detection in 6 days, so I guess it's time to go underwater. Our concept always was that if we did get an area that we can identify from an acoustic search, that eventually we would go underwater. That's why the Ocean Shield is carrying the towed pinger That was to get the initial detections, and then to use the autonomous underwater vehicle to go down and investigate what might have happened now, or where the transmission might be coming from. Now, you might recall that one of those transmissions that was analysed by AJACC, the Australian Joint Agency for Acoustics, a naval agency that works with our submarines all the time, a lot of expertise. They have analysed and reanalysed, and indeed all of the stuff that we've been analysing has been analysed again and again. And on the latest advice from them, the original assessment that the signal that was received essentially had the characteristics of a man-made signal that was very similar to what you might expect from a black box detector. So I think this is something that must be investigated. It's the best lead we've got after 38 days of searching, and I guess it's as it is. And I would not term it long shot. I'd term it as somebody who's been in search and rescue operations a lot over the years. I would determine it as a promising lead that needs to be prosecuted until we can either confirm or discount. And then, if we confirm, great. If we discount, we then decide where we're going to go next. And that's the way it's done. Believe me, that's the business of search and recovery, search and rescue. This gentleman here was.
Here from CCTV. How could the area of 40 square kilometers be decided? Is that based on the signal received by the ocean shield, or is based on some other information? And how many days for Bluefin 21 to cover this huge area?
Well, I go back to where we were a couple of weeks ago. This underwater search area was quite a large underwater search area was determined on the basis of the exchanges between the satellite, the Inmarsat satellite, and the aircraft, the handshakes. And you might remember we had the 7th ping. This area that we're in is under where the 7th ping occurred. Now, after that analysis was done, that enabled the deployment of Ocean Shield with the pinger locator, and she went into that area and she received transmissions from the deep. That is the basis. The 4 transmissions taken together are the basis for the underwater search area. Okay.
What more do we know about the terrain down there? Have we learned? Is there silt? What are the conditions? Is it mountainous? Is it flat? What do we know about this area that you've been researching?
Well, I think this is an area that is new to man. We obviously have a great asset in the oceanographic vessel, HMS Echo. That's a state-of-the-art oceanographic aircraft. It has equipment that can assist in mapping the ocean bottom there. But essentially, on the sort of imagery I've seen, it's not sharply mountainous or anything. It's more flat and almost rolling. But we understand from other work that was done some years ago that part of the Indian Ocean has a lot of silt on the bottom. And if we have silt on the bottom, that can be quite layered, quite deep, and that will complicate how things are on the bottom. And of course, again, with the autonomous vehicle going down, we're going to gather more information about the characteristics of the search area we're dealing with, and that's why we're not defining this area, that area, or so on. we're actually gathering information about the search environment all of the time, and that's factored into the analysis that the subject matter experts make when they determine where you go next. Yes.
With the time that's elapsed and given the cyclone that went through the area, what's the likelihood that the oil slick has indeed come from the aircraft or maybe from another ship?
Well, again, it's a lead. This is what the business is all about. You find something, you then basically investigate it. We've got an oil slick, we will investigate it. First of all, we'll test it. We've got the position located. It's very close to the where the transmissions are coming from. And we'll investigate it, and that will take a little bit of time given that we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean and we can't do the analysis of the slick out at sea. We don't think it's from the ships, so where is it from, what is it, and so on. So it's another lead to pursue and something that must be investigated until we either confirm or discount in exactly the same way as we've handled the vast amount of material that has been gathered during the visual search. We look at it, we have discounted all of it thus far. Yes?
Could we find that the seabeds can't actually go down as deep as the ocean floor, and is there anything else that can go deeper if it turns out that the ocean floor is a lot deeper than the 4,000 meters?
Well, the area we're searching, we know that it's probably it's around 4,500 metres. In fact, from the imagery I've seen, most of the search area is on the right side of 4,500 for the operation of the vehicle. But I must stress, it is at the limit of its capability as soon as it gets to 4,500 metres. It can't go any deeper than that.
But is there another vehicle that we could
Yeah. And essentially there are vehicles that can go a lot deeper than that. They're usually much larger vehicles. They do recovery as well, and obviously those sorts of possibilities will be looked at. Well, they are being looked at as we speak, but a lot will depend on the outcome of what we find when we go down and take a look. Yes.
To clarify some of the time frames that we're talking about, you said that the tow pinger locator now has stopped searching.
Yep.
Or when exactly will the bluefin be deployed? Are we talking today?
Yep. Yep.
Already or tomorrow? Just to clarify.
Well, the first thing is that we've got the bluefin 21 and the towed pinger locator hosted on the same ship, Ocean Shield. They cannot be operated simultaneously. So the commander on the spot had to decide which device he was going to use in the first instance, and clearly because there was still the possibility of picking up transmissions, even though we got past the 30-day point. We got those transmissions probably, it seems like about 10 days ago now, and we wanted to try and get more transmissions. Now, the fact that we haven't had more transmissions, well, could be a number of things, but one of the more probable reasons for that is the batteries on whatever was transmitting have expired. So that's the first thing. In terms of time frames, once we pull in the towed locator, pinger locator, the TPL, we're essentially going to have to bring it up on deck, and it will probably not be used again, because by the time we complete the autonomous underwater vehicle work, we're going to be into the day 40, 42, 43 or whatever it is, and by then I would suggest to all of you that there would be no prospect of picking up an electronic signal. It would be quite extraordinary if we did. Now, in terms of the time frame in the employment of the underwater vehicle, it has a 24-hour cycle. So we anticipate deploying it this evening. It will then be recovered, and with the collection of data, analysis and so on, it will be ready to be deployed, if everything goes according to plan, exactly 24 hours after the first deployment, and so on. So it's a 24-hour cycle. It goes down. You don't get any indication of how things are going while it's deployed. You have to wait to recover it before you can get the download of the data that it's picked up. Yes.
Hi, Margie Mason from the Associated Press. I'm wondering, at this point, the search has been going on for quite some time. Do you have any estimate on how much this has cost so far? And also, it's possible this could clearly go on for a very long time. Are you in this for the long haul? Could we be looking at possibly months of continuous searching going on forward?
Well, I guess it's very expensive, and all of the countries that are contributing to this are running up big costs. And I think the world community should be very appreciative to those countries for their contribution to what I would say is one of the largest search and recovery operations that I've seen in my lifetime. But just to put a bit of realism into it, I suppose the model that we tend to use in terms of this sort of operation is the Air France accident that happened about 5 years ago. The last known position of the aircraft that was lost, and this came from ACAR's data, was 6.5 nautical miles from where the wreckage was finally found, 2 years after the aircraft was lost. So I just say that because I think it's important to put it in context that the environment down there is incredibly demanding. Now that wreckage was found at 3,000 metres depth. We're talking about operating down closer to 4,500 metres, and I think that gives you some idea of how challenging this should be. And that's why I say we've got to be realistic about this. It may be very difficult to find something, and you don't know how good any lead is until you get your eyes on the wreckage. And you know, in a different environment, the mountains of the United States, I used to go searching in the middle of winter. You know, we got lots of leads. It was up to us to pursue all of the leads, but many of those leads took us down what I would call a blind alley. So we've got to be very realistic. We've got a good lead, the most promising lead that we've had through the entire search, and we've just got to wait to see if the Bluefin 21 finds wreckage on the bottom of the ocean. And I would just say to everybody, don't be over-optimistic, be realistic, and let's hope that very strong signal that we were receiving is actually coming from the black box, because that would be a really good outcome. But we can't confirm that until we lay our eyes on the vehicle. I think I might call it just one more question.
Mr. Houston, several days ago, Mr. PM Abbott visited China. He mentioned all the signals we get so far, very powerful from the black box of the missing flight.
Yeah.
From the JACC, we want to confirm what kind of proofs we get can verify this kind of description.
Well, I think the Prime Minister said while he was in China, and you know, one of the things that has been mentioned here is that you know, Prime Minister was quite expansive in China, and I would say I'm not surprised by that. is in China, where there is intense interest in the circumstances around this search and recovery operation, and he gave a fairly good summary of, where we're at with the search. But as he said, what's critical here is we've got to prosecute the most promising lead we've got, these transmissions, and we've got to find wreckage visually before we can finally say we have solved this mystery. Okay? One last question. Yes?
So you mentioned this particular lead is the most promising one, and you mentioned all these other leads may lead to our blind elevator. Is there any other leads apart from this one from ocean shield?
Well, one you've asked me about in the past, the one from Haishwin 01. There was a detection there. That has been analysed and has been discounted as a credible transmission. So at the moment, this is really all we've got. We've got no visual objects. We have the only thing we have left at this stage is the 4 transmissions and an oil slick in the same vicinity. So we will investigate those to their conclusion, and that's where we are. Thank you very much. That's the only leads at the moment, yes. And of course we're a long way after the disappearance of the aircraft. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
They know they're getting results.